Hello everyone. Today we are going to be reviewing this MTH Railking Protosound 3 Great Northern SD-9 here on Brennan's Trains. Now, due to time restraints, I'm not going to be going over the history of the SD-9 in this video. However, the next video I'll do will discuss the history revolving around the SD-9 itself. MTH first announced these SD-9s in 2021, and these things started shipping in June of 2022, and they made 4 different versions in terms of the production run. They made a Pennsylvania, Milwaukee Road, Rio Grande, and a nickel plate version. Besides the production run of SD-9s, MTH also did a couple of custom run models for other train stores. Those were Patrick's Trains, Berwyn's Trains and Toys, and Mr. Muffin's. These other locomotives done by other stores is the Great Northern version in the sky blue. They made 2 different row numbers in the sky blue. They made the 594 and 576, I believe is another number. And also they did a Burlington Northern version. Those 3 models I just mentioned are done by Berwyn's Trains and Toys in Berwyn, Illinois. Then for Patrick's Trains, they did a chassis system version, a Baltimore and Ohio. And then for Mr. Muffin's, they did a Norfolk and Western. And then the last one, it's hard to pronounce this. Forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, but it's E-Line, Joliet, and Eastern Railroad. Now, no matter which road name you buy, they're all pretty much the same in terms of features. The only difference I can really think of is the paint, and a couple of the different ones have a different horn than this model, but other than that, they're all pretty much the same. Now, the length of the locomotive is 16 inches, and despite being a big diesel, this thing can handle curves of 0.31 or larger. So this means that this engine is very friendly to small layouts with tight curves. So you pretty much can run this engine on any layout you want. Now, like all newer MTH engines, this engine has Protosound 3, and this means you can run this engine a few different ways. You can either run it with the MTH DCS command system like I have, and that will give you access to all of the engine's advanced features. However, you can also run it with a transformer and some track, or you can run it with the MTH app using the DCS Explorer or the Wi-Fi. Looking at it, this model has some good detail, so let's go ahead and take a closer look. Here's the front of the locomotive. We have a separately applied snowplow right here. Now the snowplow comes separately packaged, and you can stick it on the engine once you get it out of the box. Then in the middle, we have an electrocoupler that can be fired from the MTH DCS or from the transformer. Above it, we have some separately applied grab irons right here, along with the metal chain in the middle. On top, we have some light and number boards on either side, and in the middle, we have an operational headlight. Here, if you look on the sides of the engine, we have some molded-in grille detailing and door detailing along either side of the engine. We have a separately applied metal handrail that goes all the way back to the cab. We have a separately applied metal Great Northern sign in the middle. Underneath it, we have a die-cast fuel tank. This is molded in, not separately applied. Then below the running board, we have our trucks on either side. Now, unfortunately, since this is a Railking model, there is no separately applied detailing on the trucks. Here, if you look at the cab area, we have a crisp 594 right here. Then inside the cab, we have 2 hand-painted crew figures. There's a modestly detailed backhead, but that's okay because you're never going to actually see the inside of the cab because it's fully enclosed. Below the cab, we have a builder's plate right here, and I'm going to get a closer up look at that. Here is a closer up look at the builder's plate. Now, I can't quite read out what it says, so if any of you guys know what it says, put it down in the comment section below. At the rear of the engine, we have a operational backup light right there with light and number boards on either side. We have a separately applied metal chain that's connected to the separately applied grab iron. We have a electrocoupler that can be fired from the DCS or from the transformer. And then on either side of the engine that goes up to the cab, we have some separately applyable handrails on either side. Here's a look on top of the locomotive. We have a separately applied metal horn right here. There's the two smokestacks, and this thing does have a fan-driven smoke unit in there. And to load smoke fluid into the smoke unit, you can pour the smoke fluid down one of these stacks. Behind the smokestack, there isn't much to see besides some molded-in fans and some rivet detailing. Now, normally on a Railking diesel, this is what you get. But with the Premier line diesel, you get a lot more detail and features than a Railking model like this. Alright, before I start this engine up, I just want to mention my favorite feature on this engine. My favorite feature of the SD-9 is the revving up and revving down feature you can do on the DCS remote. I just love the sound that this engine makes. So yeah, my favorite feature is the rev up and rev down feature. Alright, let's go ahead and start her up. Now I'm going to use the extended startup sequence on this engine just to show you some of the crew talk sounds.
Is she ready to go? Compressor checks out A-OK.
Fuel is topped off.
Make sure the sand bins are topped off. All right, I'll check that out. Sand bins are topped off. Yep, she's in good shape. Thanks.
Alright, let's first check out the horn. What I like about MTH engines is that they have a preset of horn/whistle sounds by pressing a button on the DCS remote. First, here is the forward signal, which is 2 toots. Next is the reversing signal with 3 toots. And here's the crossing signal. Next up, here is the bell sound.
Change in 3 hours.
Here is the front and rear electrocouplers. Alright, now we're getting to my favorite feature of this locomotive, the rev up and rev down feature. So what you do is, you go on your DCS remote, there's labor and drift, or rev up and rev down, and each time you click this, the engine starts spinning faster and the smoke gets more intense. There's a total of 7 different levels. So let's go ahead and play all these levels from 1 to 7 and 7 to 1. And there we go. Now let's listen to some crew talk sounds before moving this engine out.
Make sure the sand bins are topped off. All right, I'll check that out. Sand bins are topped off. Fill her up. How'd she run? She's running great. Check the compressor, will you? Compressor checks out A-OK.
Alright, let's go ahead and move this engine out. Now, I hooked up a lot of Spokane, Portland, and Seattle and Great Northern rolling stock, and the new MTH Premier Great Northern Sky Blue caboose to go with it.
Tara, this is local freight holding on track 2.
Local freight, this is dispatcher. Guys, hold it there for a minute.
Copy that, Tara. Awaiting instructions. Over.
Local freight, this is dispatcher. Thanks for waiting. How can I help you today? Over.
We've got our train and we're holding on track 2. Waiting to depart. Over.
All right, local freight. I'll see how fast I can get you guys on your way. Over.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Over.
Local freight, this is dispatcher. Over.
This is local freight. Go ahead, dispatch. Over.
I'm going to clear you for track 1 heading south. Are you guys ready? Over.
We're ready and waiting. Over.
Watch for your signal. Over.
Thank you, dispatcher. We've got our proceed signal heading south.
Copy that, local freight. You have the proceed signal and you're heading south. Have a safe day. Out.
she run?
She ran great.
Okay, that wraps up for this review. This is a great locomotive. This engine is a ton of fun to run. It looks great and it sounds great. Now, if you're interested in purchasing one of these, the retail price is around $349.99. However, if you go to your MTH dealer, you should be able to get a discount off that retail price. And these engines are pretty much available at almost all your MTH dealers, so there's a big chance you might be able to pick one of these up still. Now, in terms of the Great Northern Sky Blue version, Berwyn's Trains and Toys has sold out of row number 576, but there are a couple of 594s left over. If any of you guys are into the Great Northern, I recommend picking this thing up, because once these are out of stock, they're never going to be restocked ever again. Anyways, that's it for now. Stay tuned for the SD-9 history video I'll be doing next. This is Brendan's Trains, and I'll see you in the next video.